Tia Yevacharja. Hello everyone, you're very welcome. We have a lot of work to do, but little time to do it, so let's get started. Bottoms up is one of my favourite expressions, so that's exactly how we're going to restore this Prima, starting where the rubber meets the road. Five nuts retain the front wheel hub. We'll see that again shortly. These are split rim wheels. By removing 10 nuts, we can extract the tyre without using levers. For best results, the tyre needs to be deflated first. Silicone oil is an excellent rubber lubricant and makes disassembly much easier. Two more, and we'll take a look at that wheel hub we saw earlier. Submerging the unit in water helps to prevent any brake dust from escaping when I open the brake drum. Interesting. I can see now why our Prima did not want to stop in a hurry. The brake friction surfaces are contaminated with grease and cannot grip properly. The purpose of this seal is to prevent grease from the wheel bearings entering the brake drum. That blue colour tells us this is a high pressure seal and a replacement will not be easy to find. Nonetheless, the seal has failed and so must be replaced. It looks original, so it has given long service. That's the sound of a failed wheel bearing. We have no alternative. We need to go deeper. We can see the wheel bearing is retained by a circlip shown at number 6. We need to remove the oil seal, circlip and bearing in that order. As if an oil seal installed the same year as the foundation of NASA and the invention of the first microchip was ever going to come out without a protest. We can see the circlip now. Heating the hub causes it to expand, making it easier to drift out the old bearings. And now I'll feel for and drift out the remaining seal and bearing on the opposite side. This hub had been previously painted and the bubbles in the surface are corrosion underneath. The best way to resolve this is with a good vapor blasting. And as if by magic, the vapor blasting process doesn't just clean, it also closes over the surface pores in the metal, making it more resistant to corrosion and dirt in future. It's better than new. More importantly, the vapor blasting has cleaned and decontaminated the brake friction surfaces and uncovered some nice little hidden details. The new bearings can now be fitted. I'm using a sealed bearing as a replacement. These come pre-lubricated and the black seals should prevent grease from entering the brake drum. As the bearings sit quite deep in the hub, I'll fit them with an aluminium drift kit. The drifts are a smaller diameter and as they are made from a softer material, will not damage the new bearings during installation. Not to forget the axle spacer when fitting the opposite side bearing. The spacer sits just snugly between the inner bearing races. The axle has longer threads on one side to compensate for the offset in the brake drum and must be installed this way around. I can drift in the axle and the new seals now. I discovered that one set of rims does not allow standard metric pattern nuts to be fitted, as it has an unusual thread pitch. I don't know what this wheel belongs to. It's possibly an early Lambretta item, but I'm on a mission to standardise all fittings on this scooter. So a nice lady in Germany sent me a really good NSU wheel as a replacement. I had the steel rims powder coated. This process bakes on a plastic coating that is really hard wearing and will preserve these indefinitely. Black hides 7 decades of use. My friend who I bought the Prima off had previously fitted these tyres. They're really good quality and practically brand new, so we'll definitely refit these. During assembly, we don't want to pinch the inner tube between the rims. The best way to manage this is to loosely assemble the wheel, then partially inflate the tube so it expands itself away from trouble. Unlike a motorcycle, a cool characteristic of scooters is that all wheels are the same size and therefore interchangeable. I like the idea of always carrying a spare wheel. I'm replacing the old brake shoes with safe, modern linings on original NSU shoes. I've put a tiny amount of grease on the pivot points, but nowhere else. Not to forget the circlip. The grease nipples had previously been painted shut, so I'm replacing all items. As usual, some are compliant and at least one is obstinate. You're watching a video about nipple twisting. These are drive-in type grease nipples. They have no threads and are used in lower pressure applications. What a difference a coat of paint makes. We cannot complete the assembly of the forks, front wheel and suspension until the chrome and zinc plate items return, so for now we have that to look forward to. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the frame. The key to this steering lock was lost long ago. There's only one way to remove it. This bracket supports the left side passenger running board. It has been bent for some time, hence the wooden block that was previously placed here to compensate. It's best to just fix things properly. As this is a heavy bracket, some heat is required. This rearmost bracket is very corroded and has gotten way too thin. This is the lower mount for the luggage rack and so needs to be robust. Because I've been way too busy in work recently, I decided to give this job to my friend Tony. He's done a lovely job. He's working on the body panels too, which we'll see later. Finally, I'm going to straighten the frame from head to toe. We can see here how the seat mounts do not line up with the handlebar stem, meaning the frame is twisted longitudinally. This is one of the reasons why the body panels did not fit this scooter properly and so must be bent back into shape. For this mission, we're gonna need a bigger lever. Nice.
Fucking 40-year-old.
There's plenty of distraction in here. Finally, one gun barrel straight, rock solid NSU Prima frame. This is the turning point. From here on in, we're building a scooter. Until then, slán go fóill.